Hi, my name is Steve Johnston, and if you are watching this video, it may be that you stumbled onto this page, but more than likely, it means that someone has invited you to participate in a 5-week video series entitled, What Does the Whole Bible Say About God's Revelation of Himself? And what I'd like to do is just take a couple of minutes to tell you about the course. Well, it'll be no surprise to you that the course is about God, particularly about how we can know Him. We live in a world where so often the knowledge of God is treated as irrelevant and unnecessary. And yet the words of Jesus stand in stark contrast to that. One day he was praying with his disciples and he said these words, "This is eternal life, that they may know you, the only true God, and Jesus Christ whom you have sent." So, according to Jesus, to know God is to have eternal life. And I don't know about you, but that sounds quite important to me. But can God be known? And why does He seem so distant from us? What explains the inherent religiousness of man, that all people seem to reach out for the knowledge of God? Do all people know there is a God? And how can we come to know any truth about Him? Is it possible even to know Him personally? Well, these are all important questions, and in the New Testament, we read about a sermon that Paul the Apostle preached to the people of a city named Lystra. Paul was traveling at the time with a man named Barnabas, and when they came to the city of Lystra, a most remarkable thing happened, and I'd like to read the account to you. We find this in Acts chapter 14. Now, at Lystra, there was a man sitting who could not use his feet. He was crippled from birth and had never walked. He listened to Paul speaking, and Paul, looking intently at him and seeing that he had faith to be made well, said in a loud voice, "Stand upright on your feet." And he sprang up and he began walking. Now, when the crowd saw what Paul had done, they lifted their voices, saying in the Lycaonian language, "The gods have come down to us in the likeness of men." Barnabas they called Zeus, and Paul Hermes, because he was the chief speaker. And the priest of Zeus, whose temple was at the entrance of the city, brought oxen and garlands to the gates, and he wanted to offer sacrifice with the crowds. But when the apostles Barnabas and Paul heard of it, they tore their garments and rushed out into the crowd, crying out, "Men, why are you doing these things? We also are men of a like nature with you, and we bring you good news, that you should turn from these vain things to a living God, who made the heaven and the earth and the sea and all that is in them. In past generations, He allowed all the nations to walk in their own ways, and yet He did not leave Himself without witness. For He did good by giving you rains from heaven, fruitful seasons, satisfying your hearts with food and gladness." Even with these words, they scarcely restrained the people from offering sacrifices to them. Quite a scene. Now, in those verses, there are two things in particular that I think are relevant to our discussion about knowing God. First, the people of Lystra were religious. They were religious before Paul came, and they were religious after the miracle and the preaching, even though their religious zeal was completely misdirected. The desire to know God is found in every human heart. Man is universally a religious creature, and no amount of secular philosophy or so-called science can extinguish the spiritual flame in us. Secondly, Paul claimed that God has not left Himself without witness. God has shown Himself to us, and so it is possible to know Him. So, in this course, you will learn what the whole Bible has to say about God's revelation of Himself to man. It is a 5-session video-based mini-series. You can do it on your own, but ideally it's designed to be done in a small group. And it's good for everyone. Whether you're still investigating the Christian faith, you perhaps wouldn't consider yourself to be a committed Christian yet, this course is for you. Or whether you're a long-time follower of Jesus, this course is for you. And in fact, I really hope that there is a mix of people in your group, from non-Christians to committed Christians, and that in a spirit of respect for one another, you can go on this journey together. Well, I trust the course will be a blessing to you, and I do pray that as you go through it, your heart will begin to delight at the prospect of knowing God and Jesus Christ, whom He has sent. God bless you.